Welcome to This Is My Architecture. I'm Matt, and I'm joined by Kuldeep from Expedia, who's going to walk us through the CI/CD platform that they built to make it easier for developers to deploy to AWS. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So CI/CD, DevOps, a lot of enterprises trying to make this transformation. What did you guys do to make this easier?
Yeah, so what we are trying to solve here is we are letting the developers focus on their applications.
Okay.
And we are building the building blocks that are required for them so that they can go and deploy to Amazon, whether it is ECS-based deployments or whether it is EC2-based deployments with CloudFormation.
Okay, so how do developers actually use, you built a platform called Primer.
Yes.
How do they interact with it?
They go to a web page, they enter some details on what is the app name. There are some bookkeeping that we do to tag the resources. So we gather all that information, and all they do is just click on a button to say, hey, go and create this particular type of app.
Cool, so this is like a custom UI that you guys built?
Yes, it's a custom UI that's, again, running on Amazon using ECS.
Okay, so they set up an app, they build like an app profile, they hit the button, what happens?
So behind the scenes, it goes and creates a GitHub repo for them,
Okay.
which has a Hello World application
Okay.
that they can run locally as well. And then it also goes and creates Jenkins jobs so that they can do their CI/CD. Within about like few minutes, they get an email saying that, hey, your app that you have asked has been created. You can start developing the app. That has the links to their GitHub repo, that has the links to their Jenkins jobs.
Okay, and like a big company like Expedia, not all apps come in the same flavor. I think you offer templates or something that allows developers to deploy different types of apps, is that right?
So we support more than 25 different types of templates.
Wow.
Some of them are like Node.js with Express, Java, Scalatra, Spring Boot, Spring MVC, different types of Lambdas that you can go and deploy with the serverless architecture, Node.js based ones, Python one.
Containers, CloudFormation, like all the different ways you might want to deploy an app.
There are a lot of types.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So tell us about how it actually works. How did you build Primer and what happens?
Yeah, so behind the scenes, again, Primer runs on ECS and it utilizes SWF to figure out, based on the different templates that we just talked, what to do, right? Whether it is a ECS deploy or a CloudFormation deploy.
So if I had like a Node.js containerized app, there's like a certain set of steps that I'd have to take, and you use SWF for that?
Same thing for Lambda as well, right? So because we're not doing, the deployment process is different for a Lambda versus for a Node.js one.
Okay.
So that's where we use SWF today to figure out what to do when.
Okay.
But we are soon trying to replace that with step functions.
Cool, okay, great. Yeah, step functions just came out at reInvent. I'm really excited about that. So this is, I guess, the CI/CD piece up here. Walk me through what's happening up here.
Sure. So as a developer, you are making your changes and then you are committing them to GitHub repo that we have created for you.
Okay.
So as soon as that happens, using the GitHub webhooks, GitHub is actually calling Jenkins to do the build for that repo.
And Jenkins is hosted on AWS. Are you using the AWS Jenkins plugin?
Yes, we use AWS Jenkins plugin to scale our Jenkins slaves as well.
Very cool.
And it's all running in Amazon.
Okay.
And then what Jenkins job here is doing is it's downloading the source code from GitHub based on the Docker file that we have created when you said I want a Node.js app.
As part of the template.
Right, yeah. And then it creates a Docker image, and then it pushes that to the Docker registry that's running on Amazon on EC2 and EC2 instance.
Okay. And then from there it goes to another Jenkins?
Yes. So after the Docker image has been pushed, we have another Jenkins instance that's again running on Amazon that's used for doing our deployment. So this is for our builds.
Yeah.
This is for our deployments.
Great. So the code has been sort of committed at this stage. It's been built. You have a Docker image built, and now it needs to be deployed to ECS, for example.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where this one is actually calling another scripts that are running in Amazon.
Okay.
Right. So all the different deployment scripts and whatnot are all triggered from a Jenkins slave that's running in Amazon.
Okay.
In this case, we are talking about how do we deploy to ECS. So there is a Ruby automation that we built that says, hey, given this Docker image for this particular version, go and spin up a service in ECS.
Okay.
And then it creates a load balancer, and then it also does auto scaling for that particular app.
Creates the task definitions, all the other things you have to do for ECS.
Yes, everything that's required.
That's cool. So the developer doesn't even need to know really about the inner workings of ECS. It takes care of that for them?
Yes, it does take care of all of them for them.
So you have Route 53 down here. What is that for blue-green deployments, or how are you using that?
Yeah, so it is used for blue-green deployments, but also that's also used for a different service trying to interact with a different ECS service.
Okay.
So kind of we are also using it for service discovery as well.
Cool.
So we use weighted CNAMEs that Route 53 offers.
Okay.
And that's where we control blue-green deployments. If there is a stack that's already running in Amazon, it has 100%.
Yeah.
A new stack comes in, or a new service comes in, it has like about 0%.
Yeah.
And then when we want to release or when we want to send traffic to it, we change the weight on
You
it.
can kind of shift the load. Okay, very cool. So application gets deployed to ECS, task definitions, all the other things happen automatically. You set it up in Route 53, you start shifting the load. What's happening over here? This looks like a serverless architecture. Is this to notify developers when it's deployed, or what's
Yeah,
happening?
so definitely one use case is notification, but we also use that to capture a lot of metrics around how many deployments are happening.
So whenever an
when did
event
this-
happens in this
right,
pipeline,
so
it's
yeah.
hitting.
So this one is triggering an SNS event, and there is also an SNS event that gets triggered from Jenkins as well.
Okay.
Right. So what we are doing here is one of the use cases is to that triggers a Lambda, and then that Lambda sends an email saying that, hey, this particular version got deployed in this particular region. There is another Lambda that is calling, it's writing the data to DynamoDB to say when did this particular version get deployed to this region in Amazon.
That's interesting. So this is kind of your single source of truth for all like build history and deployment history and all the rest?
Yes.
Okay, very nice.
And then we expose this data in the UI as well. So after you have created the app, the primary is not just for creating the app and then you forget about it. It's where you can go and look up your status of where is this version, in which environment it is deployed today. It also shows that how much time it took to go for your app to get deployed to prod.
Yeah, really useful for debugging.
Yeah, and we call this architecture as a minion. There are different lambdas that are doing different jobs.
I like the name. So how many applications are you actually deploying with this?
Overall, we have created more than 4,000 different apps using Primer. Today, if I see, there are about 600 plus apps that are running in production. If you count tests, there are about 2,000 apps.
That's awesome. That's enterprise scale. That's really cool to see. I love how you're enabling developers to deploy to AWS. This is a really interesting architecture. Thanks a lot for sharing this with us today.
Thanks, man.
And thanks for watching This Is My Architecture.